Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, the reality that love is just around the corner tends to be truer than most of us care to admit. And if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean you are in the seats with, once more, as always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of industry professionals and we pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and in a conversational fashion. And if you like how we do things around here, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that you do. You can subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Give us the old 5-star rating, basically wherever you get your podcast. We're pretty much everywhere. Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google. It's all good. And plus, we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we would absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and we're on Instagram at, well, you guessed it, we're at In the Seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because if we love to write about it and watch it and talk about it, we love it when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please pay us a visit. On this episode, we got a good one. It is in theaters now. We are talking about the storied life of A.J. Fikry. And it's based on a New York Times best-selling novel. As Bookstore A.J. Fikry, played by Kunal Nayyar, his life is not turning out as he expected, and he's struggling emotionally and financially, particularly after his wife's tragic death. He just feels lost and left behind in a world that is rapidly evolving past him. But as he tries to keep the store afloat, he's drinking himself away, basically, his sorrows away. And he hits rock bottom when his most prized possession, a rare series of Edgar Allen poems, are stolen. These are quite valuable. But and he's despondent. He doesn't know what to do. But a mysterious package ends up at the bookstore, and this unexpected arrival gives Fikry a new lease on life, love, and well, everything else in between. Far more than he could have ever imagined. It's a delightful, it's a really sweet story, and I mean, I cannot recommend it enough. It's one of those ones that'll just, warm the cockles of your heart, as it were. And we had the unique pleasure of getting to sit down with not only the one and only Kunal Nayyar, who plays AJ, but Lucy Hale, who plays Amelia in the film, and they were both fantastic in it. And we just talked about the book and getting the script and sort of the importance of the tactile things in our lives that I think this movie really comes through with quite well. But go check out The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry, which is in theaters now. But first, enjoy our talk with Kunal Nayyar and Lucy Hale, because between you and me, it's a pretty good one. Kunal, Lucy, first off, thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate this.
Thank you.
David.
Now, congrats on the film. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's such a sweet and sort of honest story, just about the importance of story, really, at the end of the day. And I mean, I guess my first question is, what for both of you, walk me through sort of your initial reaction when you sort of read the material. Lucy, let's go with you first.
Ooh, I usually love when Kunal starts because then I can piggyback on his brilliant answers. But I think that you nailed it. It's about the foundation of it is the love of stories and storytelling, which obviously resonated for me because that's what I do for a living. I get to tell stories. And but I read the script and then immediately read the book and was just so moved. And I don't feel that way often about the scripts that I read. And I was just so excited at the chance to get to play a character through the course of so many years. And I knew Kunal was attached, and I was very excited to get to work with him. And I mean, it really is a story about life happening unexpectedly, and love, and the light at the end of the tunnel after grief. And so my character, for me, I just knew that I wanted to bring the element of hope to every scene I was in, because I wasn't there the whole time. I just sort of was sprinkled throughout the story. And for me, that's what she represented. When I read it, that was kind of what she represented to me.
Yeah, I think similarly, when I read the Script, I had a real emotional reaction. It's very rare. We read a lot of scripts to actually, I teared up when I was reading it. That's pretty rare. Or I laughed out loud when I read it. It's pretty rare. And of course, I can't sit here and pretend like I wasn't reading it through the lens of wanting to play this character. Absolutely. It was so well written and so textured and layered, and a story that really, really touches your heart. And it's rare these days to have movies like this or to play characters like this. So it all came together like a dream.
And Kunal, obviously, you got to piggyback off of her brilliant answer. So there you go.
And look at this working out for us, Kunal.
But I mean, I love that you bring that up, because I mean, this wasn't a story that it either ignored sort of the tropes or the rules that we expect in a story like this, or it kind of owned it completely. Like, I'm kind of curious and I mean, again, this is for both of you, and Kunal, I'll let you go on this one. But when you're reading stuff, how important is it to sort of find stuff that speaks to you, sort of like you said, on that sort of emotional core level? Because I mean, obviously, this kind of material doesn't come around every day.
I mean, it's everything. It's everything. Otherwise, what's the point of doing what we do? And every actor or creator will have a different version of what that means for them. But for me, obviously, I mean, if it invokes, I would say, like, if it tugs at your heartstrings, that's very, very important to me in the work that I do. If it makes you feel something, that's important. Now, someone might say, well, if it means I'm flying in the sky and shooting down aliens, maybe that's one actor's version of that. For me, though, it really is making people feel something hopeful and beautiful and light and sweet and maybe heartbreaking, but not in the heartbreaking dark sense. This movie could have taken a very dark turn, and it doesn't.
Totally, yeah.
And that's what I really love about it. And Lucy will piggyback on that beautiful answer.
It was so flawless and perfect, as always. No, but I think, Kunal, you've said many times, is like, you just want to bring honesty. You want to bring the truth, and whatever that is. And so for me, this movie resonated so true to me, because just as Lucy, I am an optimist. Like, I want to see the best in people, and I want to see the light at the end of the tunnel in all situations. And I think so I don't know where I was going with that, but basically, as an actor, like, I just want to bring the truth. And I've gone off the rails. I don't even know what I was saying, but Kunal worded it perfectly, so I don't even need to answer.
No worries at all. But something else about this film that I appreciate, I mean, just especially from an artistic standpoint and like a story and a creator standpoint, is that it was tactile. Obviously, being in the bookstore and being surrounded by all that. I mean, for both of you, especially as we live in the digital age now, when it comes to content and people being able to be able to see whatever they want to see at sort of the click of a button, it feels very important to remind audiences that art was originally a tactile thing. And I mean, how important is it for you both to really sort of be a part of creating something that, I guess at the end of the day, you can actually, it feels like you're touching this movie, I guess is probably the right way to put it.
Oh,
I think that it does remind us about the meditative quality of slowing down, of reading a book, of touching a book, of smelling a bookstore, of taking a walk in a beautiful town, of the changing of seasons, about the purity and the innocence of a child, about second chances, about hope, about love, about, unexpected turns in life. And there is a spiritual and meditative quality about a movie that does remind us to slow down, and does remind us that life can change unexpectedly, and does remind us to be present in the truth in these moments.
And like, just you said about it being tactile, and there's a line that my character says about the smell of a bookstore, and like, even that line, and then you're seeing this beautiful bookstore, which actually was real. Like, usually you're building all these sets to look like something, and we found this charming, perfect bookstore to film in, and it really does sort of, like, the film feels really nostalgic to me, and it made me want to go to these small town bookstores, and because I am that person anyway. Like, I'll always be I'm gonna hold the book and turn the page, as opposed to read it online. Like, I kind of am like on the edge of, we're in such a technology based world now, but like, that is one thing I'll always hold on to, is is books and like supporting local businesses. And but I think that is like the highest compliment of you saying that the movie was very tactile, because I think that that's something that we wanted to capture.
Now, was this sort of the perfect film to have breaks on if they don't need you on set? You can just grab a book and then curl up in a corner somewhere?
I mean, it was cramped in there.
There
Like,
was not a lot of
seriously.
space.
I mean,
Yeah.
at one point I was like, those are books that have been in here for many years, like dust, and it was so accurate to how it was portrayed in the book.
But fascinating, exactly what you said, Lucy, was sometimes you just find a little corner to sit and you would just turn around and pull down a book and it would be a piece of history.
Yeah.
So this book was written in 1926, and then you're like, what is this? And you're trying to piece it together, but it's real. It's real.
Yeah.
It's in your hands. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
For you as actors, I mean, when you read a script or you get a pitch or you have to read for something, can you sort of be cognizant of the fact that, like, if you get this part, if you get this role, you're going to be a part of that history that's going to go on that shelf? Or do you just have to sort of focus on the moment?
I mean, it's hard to not think of that. Like, it's permanent, you know, like you're in it, whether for better or for worse. But it is easy to get wrapped up into that. And then there's all the pressure, and then you worry about external validation and what people would think. And then you lose sight of why you're really doing it in the first place. But,
Great answer. Right.
but it is cool. And on the flip side, like, how cool that we get to be a part of history and telling stories and things that will carry on and last forever.
Well, you know what, Kunal, Lucy, I think you guys have done a great job with this film. It's such a beautiful piece of work. And I mean, again, it's a reminder just to slow down and appreciate the moment and appreciate each other and appreciate everyone's story, because everyone's story is different. And you've really done a great piece of work with this film, and just congratulations again. I can't wait for people to see it.
Thanks, man. Really, really means a lot.
David.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.